Say you want to set up or relocate your home office to a better place in your home, only to discover you have a small problem. And that problem is hardware. Now, for my setup, I have Fios internet connection, and that requires an Ethernet port. Unfortunately, within my home, I only have two locations that Ethernet port runs to. One is my living room, and the other is my bedroom. It was not an issue before, but it became a bit too much with me and the wife both sharing the space, and I just had to find another location. I just moved across the hall into the spare bedroom, which I discovered I don't have that Ethernet option. So with our house, you may have a similar setup. This is where our router is. Our house only has two options with Fios internet. Is to run it over Ethernet cable, and in the back here, you'll see you have basically the Ethernet port is here, and you have the coaxials. That's basically where we run into issue, because this option is only available in two places in our house, and the spare bedroom is at one. But with the other option, I'm going to show you the coaxial, which is pretty much in all the rooms of the house, is another option with the adapter. If you find the information I provide here useful, or better yet, save you some money, hit the like button below, hit me up in the comments, share your experience. Also, at the end of this video, I will link to the previous video I made when I first moved in here, and you can do a quick comparison to what I had on Wi-Fi. It was atrocious, but now I got the hardwire set up and we're good to go. Now, to get hardline to your new setup, you have three options at your disposal. The first option is the most difficult and the most expensive. And that option is hardline installation, which requires a bit of handiwork. Depending on if you want to set aside a project, it can be a lot of fun, but it's going to be timely. You have to know what you're doing with the wiring, run it through your ceiling, run it through your walls. You can hire a handyman to do this as well, but it's going to be quite expensive and might be a good option for you. But maybe you're just looking for something quick and easy. Which leads me to the second option, which is super easy, but it's not necessarily that cheap. Now, if you have a coaxial plug near where your setup's going to be, you can get what is called an Ethernet to coax adapter. It basically just translates the signal of an Ethernet through the coax line, allowing you to use your coax like an Ethernet port. But that option might not be available to you either if your setup isn't near a coax plug. Also, if you're utilizing those coax plugs, if you have cable TV, that could add another layer that you have to consider in your setup. But if you just have the coax infrastructure built into your house, this is another option. And like I said, this is an easy option, but it's not necessarily the cheapest. You will likely need at least two of these adapters. They come in packs of two, and they start at about 170 bucks. Any additional one you get, you could basically add on another 90. And what you're seeing on the screen now is the MoCA 2.5 network adapter, which I will link to in the description below so you can do some price comparison. Now, the third and final option that I'm going to talk about is the one I am going to recommend and also demonstrate how I utilized it to get a hardline connection in my room. This is the Jadaol 100-foot flat cable. Now, first and foremost, there are several options of this type of cable. I got the Cat 6 Ethernet cable 100-foot flat wire. This cost me $21 on Amazon. I will link to it below, and you will also have options to get other types. You can get Cat 7, Cat 8. However, they're all capable of gigabit speeds, and it's probably way more than you need. So the Cat 6 is way more than I currently need with my 400 meg plan. So this is my basic setup, and for the Ethernet option that I went with, you can get this 100-foot cable, which I'll link to in the bottom of the description. Is 100 foot long, and it is super thin. And first thing I did was basically link it from my old bedroom into here just to sort of get a layout. And I had plenty of extra cord left over, but this is just to set me up to get me hardwired to my station there. And I ran along the walls here, and there's plenty of room if you decide to go like instead of along the carpet, which I'll show you how to hide that. You can go also around the top of door frames. That's also and under the stairs, just so it's completely hidden if you got kids, dogs, whatever running around. But nobody wants cords hanging out with an option like this. But that's why I really like the thin Ethernet cable. We basically run it in here and all the way up to the router. I'd also like to add that this comes with a box of these little pins. You basically just hammer that right into the wall. So if you wanted to pin that against something, you could best control that. If you just wanted to run it along the door finish or along the ceiling, whatever your setup may be, but those come with it, and that definitely gives you that option. You can just run this with your fingers and just push it all the way down in there. You can also use like a putty knife or something to give yourself a little bit more room in some of those corners and stuff like that to shove it in. But essentially, it's a little tedious, but you can completely hide your cord. So here I am with the finished cable, and I've wrapped up my excess nice and neat. I ended up with almost half of that. I had stretched all the way to the other bedroom just to take the twist out and wrap it up nice and neat. But I just wanted to show real quick. Basically, the excess in here, what I did is I took one of those pins. You can't see it in here, but I basically, the only spot I hammered it just to anchor it in to where I go in the baseboard here. But it was able to essentially run it along the wall, and you can see like no remnants of it. So it went along this baseboard. If you look real close in here, you can see that, but it's sort of pinned under the finish work. But it runs along there. No traces of this anywhere. It doesn't get in the way of vacuuming or anything like that. The only place you gotta deal with is right here, to where it'll go from one side to the other. We'll put down probably some brown tape to do away with that. It goes around the corner, and then it pops out right here. I know it's dark right here, but that's where it comes out and goes into the router. And just to wrap it all up, this worked out way better than I expected. I was skeptical of having a cord running from this room to the other and being able to actually hide it to where it's not in the way. All in all, once I got it out, laid it out, it only took about 30 minutes. And now I have perfectly good internet connection. Once again, I hope you found some good information out of this. I really hope it saved you some money and some effort. And if that is the case, let me know, like, comment, even subscribe if you like. I'll continue to put out some quick and easy videos like this. And that's all I got. See you in the next one.